Hello, 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 and welcome this morning. I am trying to get all of this situated for you guys this morning. We are about to start our Reclaim Your Time Master a Holistic Health Routine. And this is the replay. I understand that there were some issues with some people getting on earlier today. So I wanted to make sure that nobody missed out on what was going on and what we were doing today. So we have created this replay. I am Cheryl Lacey Donovan. I am an allied healthcare educator, have been for 30 plus years. So I have been responsible for training allied healthcare professionals, medical assistants, billers and coders, LVNs, many of the individuals that provide direct patient care services. I also provided direct patient care services prior to. I am a certified life coach, a certified holistic wellness coach, an author, an ordained elder, and a serial entrepreneur. So that is a little bit about me. One of the reasons that I really started digging into this whole area of holistic wellness is because for years I have said that there have got to be additional ways that we can improve upon our health besides just utilizing a lot of medications that are generally thrown at us by physicians in the healthcare industry. For myself, about 21 years ago, I'd say, I was sitting at my desk, 35 years old, and I had was having chest pain that was radiating down my arm. I was beginning to sweat, having shortness of breath, and like I said, I had been in the healthcare industry for many, many years at that point. And was thinking to myself, I know I'm not having a heart attack. Gratefully, once I got to the hospital, they did all of their tests, kept me overnight. I was not having a heart attack. It was more like an anxiety attack. But the doctor did let me know that if I did not make some changes, that I could eventually end up in that position. And we all know that people of color and women of color have higher incidences of these types of diseases, health issues like high blood pressure, diabetes, and what have you. So needless to say, I started jumping into that whole wellness aspect of it because he really didn't have anything else to offer me other than just, pills and things like that. And of course, exercise and diet and what have you. But when you really look into holistic wellness, it's not just about that one aspect because that's just the physical aspect. That's just what we do for our bodies. But what about our minds and what about our spirits and all how they are interconnected, how they're supposed to work together. If all of those things are not doing what they're supposed to do collectively, then we're not in balance. We're not having holistic health, right? So all of those areas need to be addressed. So the first thing that we're going to do is talk about reclaiming our time and what that looks like. And as I sit here this morning, I think about the young man that just passed away. They called him Rich Stephen, and I can't think of his last name right now. But you look at him on the outside, he looked so happy, and he looked like he had everything together, a good family, a good job, he had recognition and things like that. But obviously on the inside, there was something missing. So while his appearances were good, some of the other aspects of his holistic wellness obviously were going lacking. So in a 24-hour day, I try to identify how we can best effectively spend our time. And I liken it to an analogy that I hear financial advisors use often. And that is, especially if you are a believer, 10% of your money is going to go to tithes, right? 10% to tithes. Another 10% is going to go to savings. So you're paying yourself. And then the remainder of the 80% of the rest of it is what you live off of. So I kind of look at dividing my day in that same way. And as I show you this, I want you to understand that you don't have to do all of these in this one big block of time. You can do a little bit of this here and a little bit of this there, and eventually you come up with these hours that I've listed here. First of all, tithing is not just about our resources, it's all about our time as well, time, talents, and resources. So if you're going to devote 10% of your day or 10% of your time to your time to God, that's 2 hours and 40 minutes of your day. Then 2 hours and 40 minutes to yourself. The other 8 hours, sleep, and the remaining 11 hours for everything and everybody else. Now, some of these can be done in conjunction with one another, because if I'm transparent about the way that my day kind of works, the self and the God kind of go together, because part of developing and being have wellness spiritually is about being able to pray and meditate, and listen to God and things like that. So that 2 hours and 40 minutes can actually maybe end up being just 2 hours and 40 minutes throughout the day. If you're going to also incorporate God into that, and that is part of your wellness piece, where you're talking about dealing with your spiritual wellness, then that's fine too. Same thing with the 8 hours of sleep. There are different research studies out there. Some people say yes, 8 hours. Some people say more. Some people say less. I think that the best research that I've seen so far is the one that basically says that as long as you can go throughout your day and not feel like you are unrested, or feel like you're lethargic and tired, or you didn't really get restful sleep, then that number may be adjusted based on that, right? So what you really are shooting for is to get enough restful sleep so that throughout the day you're fine. You feel as though you've gotten enough rest that you need. So you govern yourself accordingly with the 24-hour day. But these are just some of the guidelines that you can kind of look at and think about as we're moving forward. So how do we reclaim our time? What can we do to reclaim our time? Well, first of all, we have to learn how to manage our time effectively. Learn how to manage our time effectively. And one of the things that I do with my clients, one of the exercises that we perform, is to identify time zappers. You need to know where your time is going. And the way that we do that is, they'll either take a day or a week and just really map out exactly what they do throughout their day. And for many of my clients, when they look at that, they are surprised at what the results are. I literally had one client in particular that reclaimed that entire 2 hours and 40 minutes of her day just from social media. Yep. She was spending that much time on social media, going from Facebook to Instagram, watching this video and that video, and, looking at, these graphics and what have you. So literally, the 2 hours and 40 minutes, when people say, I don't have time for that. I don't have time to go and meditate. I don't have time to read the Bible. I don't have time. Yes, you do. You just need to go and know where your time is going, because you'd be surprised. You can give up some of that time that you spend on Facebook, or have someone else that, and I'm going to be transparent as well here. I like to binge watch, stuff on Hulu and Netflix and things like that too, just mindless TV. I do sometimes. But think about it. Some of that stuff is an hour long, 30, 45 minutes long. And if you do that throughout the course of the day, you've almost sat there an entire 8 hours, right? You can reclaim some of that time, because some of that stuff that you're feeding your mind and your spirit isn't good. Let's be realistic. Even on social media, some of that stuff you're feeding yourself it's not good for your mind. It's not good for your spirit. Perfect example for that is one client. She was consistently comparing herself to all these other people in her age group that she felt like, she didn't measure up. She didn't live up to the standard or the expectation, because she was seeing all of these little tidbits from their lives on Facebook. And eventually, after we worked together for some time, and she started asking the right questions, she recognized that, you know what? This stuff that they're posting on Facebook, number one, most of their time is spent posting on Facebook. Some of the stuff that they're saying that they're doing, and they're photoshopping and doing all kinds of stuff, trying to make you believe that they're living a different lifestyle than what they're actually living. And so now you have clouded your mind and your spirit with all of this, and now you're depressed, because you think that somehow you're being left out of the loop, or you're not moving as fast as you should be, as instead of being grateful for what you do have, right? So yeah, I know where your time is going. Identify those time zappers. And when you identify those time zappers, anywhere that you can grab an extra 15 minutes or an extra 30 minutes or an extra 20 minutes, do that. Do that, because that's, at the end of the day, that's really why a lot of us find ourselves in spaces where we say that we don't have enough time to do that, right? The second thing, be intentional. Be intentional. Write the vision, make it plain. Decide on what is most important. And, because I am, a believer, and because I do a lot of things, conferences and things like that, decide what's important. Because this is a saying that I use often. Everything that has God on it doesn't always have God in it. And, sometimes we're just spinning our wheels with the things that we're doing. We're trying to look busy, but we're not being effective at all. And one of the reasons we're not being effective is because we're continually trying to pour from an empty cup. We've already expended everything that we have, and we haven't reclaimed our time to be able to pour back into ourselves. So now, we're just in this limbo, and we're just all over the place. So be intentional, decide on what is most important. Is what you're getting ready to do going to benefit you physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, financially, whatever? Is it a benefit? And yes, you want to be able to benefit others, but if you're not able to pour back into yourself, then you're of no use to them. It's like pouring from one of those empty coffee pots. At the bottom, it's a bunch of sediment down there. So you're just pouring sediment. You're not even being effective anymore. You're not even helping anybody anymore, because all you have left is sediment, right? So you have to reclaim your time and work on some of these holistic wellness things and create these routines so that you can continue to be effective in what it is that you're trying to do. Even when you're trying to spend times with friends and things like that, if those friends are toxic, that's not helping you. So that might not be important for you to spend time with that friend today. The friend I'm talking about, the one that every time you contact them, every time you call them, everything is wrong. Nothing is ever right. There's always a problem. There's always an issue. And now you've become their dumping ground. You're their garbage can. And you're so weighed down. They fine. They gone on about their business now, but you're so weighed down. Now you're trying to find a place to release that and to get rid of that. So yeah, decide on what's important. Decide on who's important in your life, and just be intentional about that, because that time you spent with them might not have been good time, right? 3, be consistent. Make it a habit. Make it a habit. Make a schedule and stick to it. The same way that you write down and make appointments for your clients, or make appointments to go speak at conferences, or make appointments, for the doctor, whatever it is, the same way you do that for spending your time. That can be very important, especially in the beginning phases where you're really trying to map that out and find out where you're going to spend that 2 hours and 40 minutes, 30 minutes here, 30 minutes there, 30 minutes at lunchtime or whatever. And it becomes a visual piece that you can literally look at. And the same way that you probably wouldn't cancel those other appointments, don't cancel yours. If you made an appointment to spend time, I don't know, getting a massage or getting your toes and feet done, or 30, 45 minutes to just sit in the bathtub and tell everybody the phone is off, don't bother me. Be intentional about that. Be consistent with that. Make it a habit. And we're going to look at some of the routines that you can put in place so that this thing can become real for you in your life. And it doesn't have to be done, like I said, in 2 hours and 40-minute chunks. Just a little bit of time here and there. You may start off with 15 minutes a day if that's all you can find. But I'm telling you, once you do that identity zappers thing, you're going to realize you have a lot more time than you think. So developing these daily routines is about being able to balance between your body, your mind, and your spirit. One of the best things that you can do is to get this balance through these daily routines that, as you start doing the routines, they say it takes 21 days. Once you start doing them, after that 21 days, it's going to become like clockwork. And you're going to be grateful that you did. Your body, your mind, and your spirit are going to be ecstatic that you decided to make these routines. So we're going to look at some different kind of things that you can do for the body, the mind, and the spirit. So for the body, natural supplements that you can take daily. Supplements can be things that your body makes naturally, but you need a little help because it doesn't make enough. Or the supplements can be something that your body doesn't make at all, but they do help you to do things like build a better immune system. So zinc, elderberry, ginger, garlic, vitamin C, turmeric, those are great. Women should be taking some type of a 1-a-day vitamin that has all of those supplements that your body needs, especially things like magnesium, iron, calcium. The jury is still out with calcium. They really believe that you need magnesium more than you do the calcium, but something that is a daily addition in addition to what you might normally be getting from your meals and what you might normally be getting from your 1-a-day whole vitamin. Natural skincare and hair care products. Listen, this has become a big deal, especially recently with women of color, because for a long time, many of us, I call it creamy crack, many of us were using these relaxers and things like that in our hair, and some of us may still be. But now they're coming to find out that because of some of the chemicals inside of these relaxers, some women, especially women of color, have developed things like fibroids and certain types of cancers. There's actually a class action lawsuit out right now where several women are suing some of these companies because the chemicals led to some of these, to them being predisposed to some of these illnesses. So using things that don't have chemicals, dyes, sulfates, parabens, things that haven't been tested on animals, that can be a game changer in and of itself. With Restore Her Body Wellness Studio, one of the reasons that I created it and I started delving into the creation of things like natural skin products and things like that is because of my own needs. As my body has changed, as I've gotten older and things like that, I recognize there are certain things that I need more of than certain things that I don't need quite as much of and what have you. And being able to do this and to assist other women, because most of the products that I create are things that I love, first of all, things that I have found have helped me. And so I want to share that with other women to assist them as well. So definitely these natural skincare and hair care products, read the label really quickly. It should tell you right up front whether or not, what they're made with, what they're made out of, and try to steer more towards that than some of these other things that have these harsh chemicals in them that can actually do more harm than good. Replacing coffee with herbal tea. And I have my tea right here. I love my tea, sipping the tea. The herbal teas can also have caffeine in them, just like coffee. But the difference is that a lot of times the herbal teas have less stimulants in them than coffee. And they also can prevent that caffeine crash that you get a few hours after you drink coffee, right? Now, there are some studies out there, I know it, that say that coffee is good for you. And I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm just saying that I love my tea. And again, this is something else that we're adding to our repertoire for Restore Her Body Wellness Studio. Things like matcha tea, black tea. I love ginger and lemon tea, white tea. If you want teas that don't have as much caffeine in them, you can look at chamomile tea, peppermint tea, those kinds of things. But definitely herbal teas are good for you. They have things in them that are good for you. So just think about it. Think about, replacing your coffee with your herbal teas in the morning. This goes without saying, eating nourishing meals. We've heard this all of our lives, vegetables, fruits, grains, nuts, seeds, things like that. But what I will say, though, is if you are someone that is already dealing with a particular disease process, high blood pressure, diabetes, kidney issues, kidney failure, things like that, you definitely want to consult your physician first, because some of these things, while for a healthy individual, these things might not be a problem. If you're dealing already with a disease process, they could be. There are some things, even in these food groups, seafood, things like that you might not need to eat if you're already dealing with a health issue. So definitely consult your doctor, and that whatever that nourishing meal looks like for you based on what your health status is, do that, follow whatever that is, but make sure that it's something that is a healthy meal for you. So let's look at, those are things for the body. Let's look at some of the things we can do for the mind. And let me tell you right now that this is my number one go-to. My number one go-to is journaling. I have done it all of my life. Some of the best books that I've written have been a result of the journals that I've done. And your journals can look like whatever you need them to look like. This is one of those places you can go to if you're in a situation where you feel like you don't have anybody else to talk to. There is just something cathartic about putting pen to paper and writing out your thoughts on that paper, right? It makes a world of difference. You wouldn't think that in the out, when you get ready to get started, you wouldn't think that, but it really, really does. It doesn't take long. You can do it in 5 minutes a day. If that's all it takes, 5 minutes a day is good. You can move forward. Some of the things that you need to remember about journaling, first of all, there are no rules. You do it however you want to do it. You can do a notebook. You can do a specific, an actual journal. They sell those. Matter of fact, we have some at the Restore Her Body Wellness Studio, with journals and things like that. There are different ways that journals can be done. We have some with the prompts. The prompts literally ask you questions or have phrases there that you just need to complete the phrase. You can do a brain dump where you just write, whatever happened throughout the day, however you feel, whatever is going on, you can do that. You can, if you feel like doing just one word a day, This is my word for the day, gratitude. This is my word for the day, healthy. This is my, whatever that looks like for you to set the intention, for the day, whatever that looks like. But I tell you, journaling is the way to go. It is the way to go. You want to experiment with what works best for you, whatever whatever you like to do with journaling. But I promise you, if you start doing it, it's going to be helpful. And a gratitude journal. I have several. I have a journal that's a Bible journal with Bible prompts in it, the scriptures, and you write out how to apply those for your life. I have a gratitude journal where I write specifically about things I'm grateful for. You can have just a journal that's straight up for the brain dump, however that looks. And it's nothing wrong with that. You can write in all of the journals every day. You can just write in one journal. Whatever floats your boat, do that. Do that. This says take an Epsom salt bath. I like to say a soak. This is one of the soaks that Restore Her Body Wellness Studio has. This is, again, one of my favorite things to do. And when you do it, you need to make sure that you have enough time to sit and soak. Don't just jump in the tub and jump back out. Sit and soak. This refers to Epsom salts. I prefer using, Epsom salts is magnesium sulfate. I prefer using magnesium chloride flakes because they tend to absorb better. And again, we're talking about this magnesium. We talked about it in the supplements for the body, that your body absorbs that magnesium where you may have had joint pain, things like that. It helps with the one that we've created. It has, essential oils in it. We have different ones for different things. Lavender, of course, with the lavender and the chamomile, that can help very much so with relaxation. And when you're in this bath and in this soak, it's an opportunity for you to just kind of release your mind and let your mind be free. I love having on some real comforting music and having some candles lit and things like that. The smells and the aromas from the actual soak itself, particularly ours. But if you don't use ours and you just use regular Epsom salt, that's fine. But you still want to try to have some type of aromatherapy going on, a diffuser with maybe some lavender and eucalyptus. But it's just an opportunity for you to just de-stress and just kind of take off the cares and the worries for the day. I love it. I love it. You have to be careful. You have to make sure that you're very hydrated. You have to be careful getting out of there because you're going to be so relaxed that you could probably just want to, your legs just come out from under you. So, but it is an excellent way to end a very stressful day. So look for that, taking an Epsom salt bath or detox soak. Breath work. Now, this is one of those things, as well as a couple of other things we'll talk about later on, where people have kind of really tried to make it into this mumbo jumbo, supernatural kind of, listen, it is what it is, breathing. I put a question in the group earlier this week and asked, what do you do about your anxiety? What do you do for anxiety? And someone responded, just that, breathe. I take the time out and breathe. And you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how much and how helpful that can be. You don't even recognize that your shoulders are tense and your jaws are locked and all of that until you take the opportunity to do this. So if you bear with me just for a few minutes, I want us to try to do that right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a breath in and hold it for a count of 4 and then release it for a count of 4. So let's try that. Let's try it. This is what it looks like. So breathe in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. And I don't know if you can tell it, but it's like your shoulders release and your jaw unclenches, and you just feel better when you get done with it. Doing this throughout the day 2 or 3 times, that can be part of that 2 hours and 40 minutes. You do this for about 3 minutes. Take out 3 minutes of that. Just doing breath work. It'll change your life. I'm telling you, it'll change your life. And essential oils. This is something that, go out there, read about them, find out the ones that bring about good mental health, the ones that help to relax you, the ones that help you to cope. So many of them are good for good stress relievers, pain relievers, things like that. And these are natural oils, natural products. Many of them you can get organically certified, meaning that they haven't had any kind of pesticides or anything on them. And they're a lot better than some of the synthetic things that we utilize out there for our pain mechanisms and managing pain and things like that. So just think about it and consider it. Using essential oils, we have those as well. Now, lastly, for the spirit, being mindful. Being mindful sounds like this big ordeal that you need to figure out how to do, but it's really a lot more simple than that. It is really easy to do. For instance, you're out to dinner with your family or your significant other or whatever the case may be. Being mindful in that moment is as simple as taking this cell phone, shutting it down, putting it down, and being in the moment and engaging in an actual conversation with the other individuals that are at the table. That's being mindful. When you're eating, and I catch myself doing this a lot, when you're eating, just thinking about it and trying to identify the different flavors that are in your meals. And I challenge myself. Once I've done that, I try to go home and recreate the meal, right? So that's an opportunity to be mindful where you're literally paying attention to everything around you as opposed to being preoccupied in your head about something that's going on somewhere else or something that's happened in the past or what you're going to get ready to do in the future. So being mindful simply means being in the moment and it taking in everything that that moment has to offer you in that time frame. Now, this goes without saying, especially if you're a believer, prayer and meditation. Again, this is one of those things that the world has kind of taken and, I've literally think I've heard a couple of believers, preachers or whatever, try to talk about meditation, but I'm like, how can you talk about meditation when scripture clearly tells us to meditate on the word day and night? That meditation is not that the world has taken that but no, when I meditate, I'm meditating on scripture. Because the word says, don't be conformed to this world, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And how do you renew your mind? You need to get into the word, right? So scriptures that help me to set the course of my day, like this is the day that the Lord has made, I will rejoice and be glad in it. Or, scriptures that, help me to pray about various situations that I'm dealing with in my life. And, meditation literally means to murmur. So just murmuring and just repeating those things over and over in my mind on a regular basis. Even in my car, especially in my car, if you're in Houston traffic, you might need to meditate real quick and might send up a quick prayer or say a quick scripture to keep your mindset right, so that you don't do something ugly to the person in the car in front of you or behind you, right? So prayer, meditation, excellent ways to deal with your wellness, especially spiritually. Affirmations are great for me. There are things like I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Things like I am the head and not the tail. I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Those types of affirmations, even affirmations that say I am enough. I am more than a conqueror. I will do my best to live out this day in the best way I know how, just things that are going to uplift your spirits, right? So you can say the same ones every day. You can choose different ones every day. It just depends on what you want to do. I even write them out and put them on sticky notes sometimes and just stick them around different places, right? So that I can see them and visualize them. Even if I'm not speaking them, I can say, oh, okay, you know what? That's a reminder. You're right. I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. You sure are right. Even though that person tried to make me feel otherwise, you're right. I am. And spending more time in nature, you'd be surprised how being intentional about doing that can change your mindset. Being intentional about going out and looking and literally watching how the leaves change colors from one day to the next, how one day you look at the tree and it's full of leaves and the next day it's totally empty. I'm here in Galveston, live close to Galveston, Texas, and sitting on the pier and looking at the waves and the wind as they come in and go out, and you literally at some point can see the difference between the Gulf of Mexico and the ocean. You can see where that line of demarcation actually is, and that is awe-inspiring and amazing. And in this picture, you see the lady with the dandelions. Just like they say, stop and smell the roses. Sometimes you just need to do that. If you're into gardening, go out there and get your hands dirty and plant some stuff, or, just, take your shoes off and walking in the dirt. I don't know, whatever it is, but just getting close to nature and standing in awe of what God has created for you. So now what does all of that look like? That was a lot of different stuff. So you can mix and match these different things however they work for you. Um, some things may be easier for you to do in the morning. Other things may be easier for you to do in the evening. Because I know for a lot of us, the morning is all about, getting ourselves prepared and getting ourselves ready, maybe to go to work or to do whatever other things we do throughout our day. So the routine may be a little shorter in the morning than it is in the evening. I'll tell you for myself, and this is what I was saying earlier, a lot of times some of my stuff kind of runs together because I showed you that graphic where 2 hours and 40 minutes for God, 2 hours and 40 minutes for yourself. A lot of times that's condensed for me. All of it kind of gets to be 2 hours and 40 minutes, and I actually end up with maybe 13 hours left for everything else because my meditation time and my prayer time, all of that kind of rolls into one. So generally in the mornings, I am on either on a prayer call at 6 o'clock or I am praying at 6 o'clock, whether I'm on the call or not. Once I'm done with that, I use an app that's called YouVersion, and it usually has a scripture for the day. And with that scripture for the day, there's someone that comes on to give a summary of what that scripture is about. Then it allows you an option to do a devotional from that scripture. Then from there, there's a prayer. And now they have additional options for you to choose from where you can have further reflection, an additional 5, 6 minutes of reflection for the day on different topics, an opportunity for prayer, meditation. It actually gives you the prompts that we were talking about earlier within that app. So it is really a great app to use. And before you know it, if I have on the prayer call or doing prayer, and by the time I do that, and I also like to read the entire chapter. So whatever scripture of the day is, I go back and read that entire chapter and kind of study that and use my Bible journal that I was talking about to kind of write down my thoughts and write down what I hear the Lord speaking to me. And by the time I do all of that, I'm probably about an hour in already, right? So that's about an hour, 15 minutes or so. So there goes a large portion of my 2 hours and 40 minutes just doing that. And like this says, also may get me some tea. So herbal tea, practicing some mindfulness while you're setting the intention for the day, using affirmations if you'd like to do that, spending time in nature. So I could actually do all of those things walking out on my porch. I can do my prayer, my meditation, all of that outside in the backyard on my porch, listening to the birds. I also have a pond out there with a waterfall. Turn the pond waterfall on. It is such a serene setting, an awesome opportunity to just really feel the spirit of God and really connect with God. So you can see how those things kind of come together, right? As you're talking about spending that time. And if you don't wake up and the first thing you do is hit Facebook and scroll, right? Which is what some people do. That's where you're gonna reclaim that time. Because I know some people that literally get up first thing in the morning and they go straight to Facebook, right? And start scrolling. So you've just reclaimed 45 minutes to an hour by not doing that when you first get up in the morning. And then this is one routine kind of for the evening time. So journaling, and journaling is I put in the evening time because you generally will probably have a little bit more time to do that in the evening. Meditation, again, more time. You're kind of winding down your day at this point. So you can spend that in meditation, meditating on the word, meditating on the scripture that you read earlier that morning, or finding, something different to meditate on. There is an app called Abide, Abide, that has meditations that you can utilize for that purpose as well. Doing my soak, my 30, 40 minute soak. And like I tell you, if you don't have time to do it, then don't even worry about it. If you're just taking a bath, you just take a bath. But if you want to do this soak or where you literally taking this detox bath, you need time for that, lady. And breath work. Right. So that can be part of your nightly routine. And like I said, if you do both of those things and you add the things that we put here, then you're talking about an hour each. That's a good 2 hours for sure. For sure. As long as you're being mindful and intentional about your time and not spending it doing something else. I even like to have some tea in the evening time as well. So hopefully this has been good for you. We're going to have our first Sister Circle Saturday, January 14th. I did mess up and put 2022, but that's actually 2023 at 10 o'clock in the morning. The logistics of that is still being worked out, so we don't know exactly where it's going to be, but we will definitely keep you posted. Definitely stay in touch with me so that we can let you know when that's going to be, but January 14th, 2023. And during that sister circle, we'll do a deeper dive into what we've been talking about today, because we'll actually have some activities and some lessons to work on. And we can begin looking at and identifying specific areas that you may need to focus on when it comes to your wellness and to your wellness routines that you're utilizing throughout the day. We will also be starting a 5-week study entitled Soul Detox, Clean Living in a Contaminated World. That's going to be Tuesday, January 3rd, again, 2023. I apologize, I'm still in 2022 at 7 p.m. And we're going to be looking at things like detoxifying our thoughts, detoxifying our words, detoxing our relationships, things like that, identifying those areas that if we begin to detox from those things, our lives as a whole will become a whole lot cleaner, be a whole lot better as a result of releasing some things. So I think that's a great way for us to start in 2023. So if you would like to join us for that, again, make sure that you stay connected with us so you'll find out when that's going to take place. And lastly, that's pretty much it. Like I said, this is a replay, so there's really not any Q&A here, but you can connect with me if you do have some questions, if you do want some answers. If you follow this particular link, it's Linktree/Cheryl Lacey Donovan. That's linktr.ee/Cheryl Lacey Donovan. Everything that you want to know is located there. My website is there. If you would like to book a free 30-minute self-care breakthrough session, you can do that there. That's where we also go through some exercises and look at some resources and some tools that you can use for self-care. It's a free session, free 30 minutes. We start there and then we decide what we want to do at that point, but you can do so at this link. You can also join our Restore Her Movement Facebook group at that link. And our Etsy shop is located there as well. So anything Cheryl Lacey Donovan related, anything Restore Her Movement related, if you go to that particular link, you'll be able to connect with us and find out what's going on moving forward. We hope to get in touch with you. We hope to have you with us going forward, doing a lot of different new things in the 2023 year. It has been a blessing sharing with you today, and I look forward to sharing with you in the near future. You guys have a blessed day.